In a must-watch exchange, Bill Maher challenges CNN anchor Kaitlan Collins over her network's apparent political bias. With sharp wit and pointed examples, Maher highlights what many viewers have long suspected: CNN no longer seems interested in neutrality. He contrasts the network's glowing coverage of Vice President Kamala Harris with its consistently critical tone toward former President Donald Trump as the conversation heats up. Collins attempts to defend CNN's reputation, but her arguments lack the weight to shift the narrative. Ultimately, Maher moves on, leaving viewers with a stark picture of how media favoritism can shape public perception. It's a striking example of holding powerful media voices accountable.
Report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the fucks, but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of, like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on another night. I think lawmakers from both parties should take questions, and you should push both.
The issue isn't just about inviting guests from both political parties. It's about how stories are told. When Maher's Kaitlan Collins, he's pointing to something deeper than guest lists. The framing of news itself. Networks may present both sides, but the tone, prioritization, and editorial decisions often lean in one direction. True journalistic balance goes beyond appearances. It's about fairness and delivery, not just representation. In today's media landscape, reporters are frequently given room to inject their perspectives, which can color the news in subtle but significant ways. A commitment to neutrality would mean sticking to the facts and giving equal space to differing views, letting the audience form their own opinions. Unfortunately, many viewers feel that CNN, like others, filters information through a particular lens, which leaves little room for open, unbiased discussion.
300 people from CNN on the ground covering that convention. There were several reporters from just our team alone on the floor, bringing it in real time to people. And I think CNN puts resources behind things and just brings a level of news that you don't get anywhere else. And I think CNN does.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. I watched Kamala's speech last night. It ended at 8:09, I guess 11:09 in the East. It wasn't until 11:23 till the one conservative guy, what's his name?
Scott Jennings.
This Lonely Scott, I call him.
David Urban was there too.
Wait a second. I watched from 8:09 to 8:23. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. But if I'm a conservative in America and I'm watching CNN just for the straight middle of the road, that's what I hear for 15 minutes is it's great, and then Lonely Scott. It does look, and when you see the path, it does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. It's like it's almost better to have nobody there, like MSNBC, than to have this person.
Well, I don't think you could say it's better to have nobody there than also lament the fact that you don't think the conservative guy, Scott Jennings, who is great, and we have him on my show all the time, spoke up early enough. I think it was a Democratic convention.
CNN's coverage of the Republican National Convention as a clear example. Analysts often jumped in right after major speeches to critique rather than provide balance, insight. This kind of rapid, often negative reaction has become a recognizable pattern in their reporting on conservative events. While all media outlets carry some level of editorial perspective, credibility comes from honesty. Networks like MSNBC openly lean left and make no secret of it, which builds a more transparent relationship with their audience. CNN, however, continues to claim impartiality. While many feel its reporting consistently favors one side, the disconnect is reflected in the numbers from 80 million subscribers in 2021 to 68 million by the end of 2023. That's a significant drop, minus 12 million viewers lost in just 2 years. Even more telling, CNN now ranks third in cable news, trailing behind both Fox News and MSNBC, with average daily viewership down to 580,000, 50% decline from the previous year.
Tucker Carlson have become so pro-Putin? Good question. What does explain that?
Your buddy. Man, I don't know. Tucker hates my guts. I mean, I think we all know that.
Well, that says a lot for you.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how to explain Tucker. I've never met Tucker. Never even spoken with him. He just trashes me because I think it's a bad idea if Russia wins a land war in Europe. And I would remind everybody, I know this is getting serious, but I would remind everybody, if you don't stop Russia there, and we're spending maybe 5 to 10% of defense spending just on supporting Ukraine so they can fight their own battles. If you didn't do that, if you never gave them any stingers, never gave them any javelins, you'd have a Russian army that is fully intact and also very aware that we don't defend our friends, and they'd be on the border of former NATO countries. If you want to get closer to war, that's how you get closer to war. So what do I make of some random, his opinion who got fired for talks? I don't know.
That opinion, which I agree with, is out of step with your own party.
It's about half and half. I mean,
Really?
You can see it in their votes, yeah. But it's an ongoing discussion. And Trump, by the way, has never ran away from it. Trump has always said, first of all, he threatened Putin when he was in office. He said, but we're going to...
With what, a kiss?
In a culture like Russia's, that would be a threat.
But no, he said, purportedly said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Moscow if you invade Ukraine. In any case, we know he didn't invade Ukraine while he was president. He increased the lethal aid to Ukraine by a lot, actually. And he's never said he's backing away from Ukraine. What he has said is it should be a loan. Maybe we should have mining rights. Europeans should pay more. All things I think we all agree with.
Okay.
Except that whole impeachment thing.
Which part? The ones the Democrats impeached him for?
Withholding aid to Ukraine.
The thing that Biden did before that.
Point.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, but that's diplomacy. And Biden
That's
did the exact.
that's not
Biden did the exact same thing, literally to the exact same country.
No,
yes,
really?
he did.
What'd he do?
He was bragging about withholding aid unless they fired that the prosecutor.
Corrupt prosecutor, which is what your party complains about.
That's diplomacy. So American presidents have that power to say, no, we're going to withhold aid because we don't like what you're doing. If our State Department and I'm not bashing Biden for doing that either, by the way.
But Trump was withholding aid because he wanted an investigation into Hunter Biden.
This downward trend in viewership is not unique to CNN, but its decline is especially steep. Meanwhile, independent journalists and digital platforms are seeing a surge in popularity. More people are turning to creators who prioritize open dialogue and factual clarity free from the constraints of legacy media frameworks. The shift reflects growing public frustration with selective reporting and created narratives. Traditional news outlets are being challenged by a new wave of content providers who offer transparency, authenticity, and a willingness to engage with all perspectives as audiences demand more accountability. Networks that fail to evolve risk being left behind. The media landscape is changing, and only those who embrace genuine, honest conversation will thrive in this new era of music.